Okay guys, I figured it out. We're gonna need 2560. We have 110. And the enemies don't give very much skill because we're in the first area. So grinding in the beginning is gonna take a while. I wanted 4 of each, by the way, for reference. And I think I'm gonna use the time grinding as kind of an exposition time. Because I'm really just gonna be blindly fighting for the most part. And yeah. First we're fighting a group of goblins. Now one thing that I feel like I should mention that's different between this game and the NES Final Fantasy is that in the NES Final Fantasy you had to target each enemy individually. Like if you all targeted one enemy, then when the enemy dies, the other party members will just be kind of attacking air and miss automatically. But this game, once the enemy goes down, they all start like spreading out to attack the other goblins, basically. And that's a really useful feature right now. I think the goblins have exactly 8 health. So having Tadpole do 6 damage is not very good. But we will work on that. It's actually exactly why we're here. And we got 30 gil from that encounter. Okay, so another little random factoid is that this game is actually part of the inspiration for my username, which I've never really talked about on the channel. See, when I got this game in my freshman year of high school, and it was partially because I knew the Final Fantasy series was a really epic thing. I mean, at the time it had, I think, 13 games, and I wanted to play the entire series, but I wanted to start from the beginning, and I mean, as of now, I have all the numbered games except for 11 and 14, I believe. And yeah, but anyways, when I was in my freshman year of high school, I was kind of going through a weird weeaboo trash phase type thing. And at the same time, I was big into Naruto with my friends. And I found out that the guy that made this game and kind of designed the whole series up to, I think, X2 is a guy named Jironobou Sakaguchi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how I read the name. And at the same time, there was a character in Naruto named like Jironobou or something, and I basically combined the 2 names and came up with this. And it's a really, I like it because it's very unique. Like I haven't found every website I visited, I've been able to use that name pretty much. So I mean, I like it because I don't have to think of another one. I'm lazy about that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat little story thing. I think another thing I might want to go into detail about is combat. I don't know how many people are familiar with RPGs, but in this game you've got, like, this is basically a setup turn where you can choose to attack, or use magic, or items, or equip something new, or just run. And after you do that, the battle turn commences, and basically every person on screen moves based on their agility, I think. And there are also little start of the battle potential outcomes, like you can start off the battle in an ambush, which means the enemies get a free attack turn, or a preemptive strike, which means you get a preemptive attack turn. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Magic costs MP, which is listed at the right side next to the HP bar, and I'm gonna go ahead and heal. Oh, I just realized my characters level up and gain HP, but they don't gain the like they gain the max HP increases, but the current doesn't. So I'm gonna have to heal after this encounter. I'm gonna go to an inn. But yeah, I think another thing that would be good to go into would be the classes. So I'll start with the ones that I actually have right now. The first guy is a monk, which is basically a bare-fisted bruiser for the most part. He can use some martial weapons like nunchaku, but after a certain point he'll do way better just bare-fisted punching people in the face. And that's kind of why I named him Fooper, I guess, because that's the name given to me by the Potato One. And he has a recurring character thing named Runny McPunch on his channel that basically is a guy that runs around punching people, so I gave his character the class that punches people. Figured he'd like that. Also, in the original Final Fantasy, each class, well, I guess in every version, each class gets a class upgrade, like halfway through the game. And the monk's upgrade is the Master, which is basically even stronger. And in the original version, a party of 4 Masters could defeat the final boss in 2 turns, just by punching it to death. And I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, obviously you need to grind a lot to get a lot of weapons if you're not doing or a lot of items because you're not going to have any magic, but... Ooh, Goblin Guards! These are the 2nd tier of goblins. They're a little stronger. In fact, I'm going to use some magic. Like they're dealing slightly more damage, but they still go down pretty easily. Isn't that a shocker? The next class would be the Thief. And in this game, the Thief is all about agility. And agility is great because having higher agility means you have more accuracy, you have a better chance to evade, and you have a higher chance to make the first move in a combat turn. And eventually, he will just run circles around his opponents, figuratively, of course. But for now, he is... I mean, in the original version, he was very squishy. It was very much like a build-up class. You start off weak, and you just kind of have to hope for the best. But in this game, they start off pretty okay. The next class is the Black Mage, which is all about offensive magic. It also has the lowest health progression of any class, or any of the classes in the game, because in this game all the level ups are basically pre-programmed in what you get as a stat bonus, unlike Pokemon, which has like EVs and stuff that you could train up to level up certain stats. So yeah, and then the White Mage is obviously all about support healing, magic stuff, and it's also slightly squishy, but I think the White Mage has better access to physical weapons, which kind of makes up for them being only able to do healing magic, whereas the Black Mage is very offensive magic, so it's pretty useful in that way. How are we doing on health? We're okay. And I'm going to talk about the other 2 classes that I didn't pick. One of them is the Warrior, which is basically a straight damage-dealing class. It's good for, I mean, just attacking things outright. That's about it. It can do, I mean, the upgraded class is the Knight, which can use better weapons and armor. Or the best weapons and armor that are available in the basic game. But, yeah. I don't like just straight warriors in games. I never have. I always like either having some sort of... I don't know how to explain it. I guess I like playing as rogues or healers mostly in games. Like sneaky or healing or support type stuff. I've just never been into straight warrior classes. It's hard to explain. And then the other class is the Red Mage, which is kind of a jack of all trades. Like, it can use some pretty good armor and weapons, and it can use some black and white magics. My issue with it is that it can't do the best. And I'm like, I like mostly all or nothing type stuff. Like, someone who's okay at everything is okay, but I'd rather have a few specialists than one person who can't reach the pinnacle, because, I mean, he can't get the highest level, the best black magic or white magic spells, and he can't use the best weapons or armor. He's just kind of there, doing his thing. And I mean, a party of 4 red mages would do very well in the game, but, it's not my thing. Another thing you may have noticed is the formation of the characters. Like, the monk is slightly standing farther ahead than the thief, which is standing ahead of the other 2. And that's kind of a visual indication of the combat rules, because in this game their vertical position also determines how likely they are to be attacked. Because I think the split is the top guy has 50% chance to be hit, the second guy is 25%, and the last 2 are 12.5 each. But I'm not sure of that exactly, but I know that like the first guy is more likely to be hit than the last guy, so it's better to have your squishy guys at the bottom. And right now, actually, my thief has more health than my monk. But I'm gonna keep this, what do you call it? Placement for now, this formation. I just noticed how low my character's health are, so I'm gonna make another trip to the end. So, everyone leveled up again. I feel kind of bad for saying this, but I've actually covered pretty much everything I was going to cover in my grind session, and I don't even have 1,000 gil yet, so we're gonna do the rest of the grinding off screen, guys. I think, is that all I needed to talk about? Oh, you know what, actually, I just realized I completely forgot about the class upgrades. because, yeah, that's also important. And I did kind of mention that the monk upgrades to the master, which basically is a stronger monk. The thief upgrades to the ninja, which is also stronger and faster, and it can use some low-level black magics. So that's cool. The black mage upgrades to the black wizard, which also can use a few more highest tier black magic spells, and I can actually show you right now if I go to magic. These two are both grayed out, but Tadpole and Coffee can use level 2 white magic if I find a magic vendor for level 2 spells. And then the white mage, well, I was just there. The white mage can learn... White wizard can learn level 8 spells, I think. But I think the white mage only goes up to either 6 or 7. But yeah. And then the red mage turns into the red wizard, which also has more spell and weapon options. And the warrior becomes the knight, which has the option to do some white magic spells, which I think is pretty cool. But again, I'm not a big fan of just straight melee classes in games, so I didn't bother with that. And I just... Wow, you've already got 100 health. I mean, you're level 4, but you broke 100. I'm so proud of you. So yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of the grinding off-screen. Which means next time we're gonna be taking on the Chaos Shrine, guys. Yay! Oh god, the music just cut out. What the hell? That was weird. I think the game even paused when I did that. Anyway, see you next time, guys.